Hello, Colfeians. This is the Colfeian Connection, the podcast which aims to connect members of Old Colfeians Rugby Club in business. And I'm delighted to have Harry Taylor here with me today. Harry, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing today, Tim?
Very, very good. Welcome to the Colfeian Connection. And as always, we'd like to kick things off with the pre-game. Just give people a bit of an idea of your Old Colfeians Rugby Club history. You know, what's your era, who you played with, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so I've been at Old Colfeians my whole life since I was 5 years old. My first club, my only club, actually. So when I was 5 years old, that was 2005, 2006 even. I've been there my whole life, coached by the parents until I think under 17. So Bill Blythe was my coach, Sam Abbs' dad, Richard Abbs. I played, obviously, school level at Colfs also, from year 7 until year 12. With that, joining the senior squad as an under 18s, playing my first game for the third team against, I think it was Blackheath Fourths, which had a few of the young lads, a few of the props at fullback and on the wing. Just how the third team treats these young lads who they think they can run, but they're just big blobs in the wing at the end of the day. But my whole experience with rugby has been pretty much with Old Colfeians, and as much as I don't play as much anymore, I bleed it.
Yeah, wonderful stuff. Good to hear, Harry. Okay, obviously, though, this podcast is all about the business side of the relationships that we've made. So tell people what's the business that you're in? What do you do?
So yeah, I work for a national charity called SportInspired. I started with them about 5 months ago, part-time. It's all about getting children involved with sport, especially in the most deprived areas. We try to target the top 20% most deprived around London. We also do programs in Manchester, Edinburgh, Stockport. Our program consists of a few things. Mainly, we start by doing a big sports festival, multi-sports festival, which would have about 5-6 sports, which are not normally the most conventional. Tend to just kind of avoid football, which as a rugby player, I can support that the whole way. Everyone's always got an experience with football, and sometimes there's negative connotations attached to that. So we want everyone to have the opportunity to enjoy sports. So we do the big festival, about 200, 250 kids, do about 30 of them a year. After that, through our funding, we aim to do around 10 hours or more within all of the schools that come of free sports club within the schools, hoping to create connections between local sport providers, schools, kids, maybe even adults, through this kind of knock-on effect of the magic of sport. As I'm sure that kids start playing sport. I can even say my mum, she's really got into her fitness recently. She's now on base 13 in Lewisham, going all the time. And, I think sport does its own thing, but as a charity involved with sport, we really channel all of the funding we can straight into it.
Amazing. So tell me about one of these big opening sports days. Do you get kids from like lots of different schools in the area? Is that how it works?
Yeah. So right now myself, I'm a program manager. I'm running programs in Walthamstow, or even Waltham Forest more specifically, Haringey, Barking and Dagenham. These will be the schools which are eligible for around 40% free school meals, which is the top 20% as a primary school. With that, we get them along multiple schools. We also target secondary schools where we run leadership courses, such as the Leadership Skills Foundation. And we're currently developing a new leadership course called LEAP, which is Leadership Excellence, the program. With that, we just really get everyone involved. Main thing about these things are we have corporate volunteers coming along, which corporates about 80% of our funding. So the corporate volunteers like to spend their fun corporate volunteering days, which a lot of time are wasted doing some things which don't have the real impact, but you're able to come along to these sports days. And as a sporty person, I want to do something fun on my day. So that's how it works. But it's always local schools in these local areas all around London.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, so talk to me a bit more about the connecting to external clubs then, sports clubs. How do you go about like sourcing those clubs, deciding which ones would be a good fit?
We really focus on good quality sport providers. It all starts from bottom, searching up online, whatever sports club is close to a school or the location in which we are doing the festivals, such as Haringey, we're doing at Tottenham Green Leisure Centre. If there's any sort of Haringey is kind of our newest program, so I'll use it as an example. Right now, I'm doing research on any sort of sport provider that can include a rugby club, maybe even a bigger sport provider which will do multiple sports, like a sports provider. It gets confusing, sport provider, sports provider. But with that, we just really want some good quality sport providers which are in a community, will do it for more than the money that we fund ourselves, and will just get kids really on board and continue with it.
Excellent. Sounds good. Now, just in terms of sort of some historical stuff, what's the kind of take up of kids that go to one of these big days and then end up in a sports club? Have you got any sort of stats around that?
So with the regards of it, we do probably about 4 schools on average, including year threes and fours for the primary schools. And then they will come along after to their school. For the next few days, they'll get some feedback with what sports they enjoyed, and it will be guaranteed that they have 10 hours of the program afterwards. I can't tell you any real stats necessarily following these 10 hours, but every single school that comes to our festival will get these promised 10 hours. And then something we're looking into is being able to calculate how much we can figure out how the impact on how these kids have stayed within these sports, or if they've gone and joined the club after. But we just kind of hope that after our job is done, our work is done, our funding is finished, the school will stick with them, and they normally do, or the kids will choose to go and join the club after in an external place.
Yeah, I mean, certainly one big sports day and 10 hours of input, that's plenty of time to ignite a fire in a child, isn't it? And show some inspiration. So that's great. What I'd also
That's
like to
great.
hear about, Harry, is the volunteers from the corporate side. Talk to me about some of the people that come and volunteer. Talk to me about what their feedback is like. You know, what kind of day do they have?
They always have so much fun. It's really funny. My first festival I come along, I didn't know what I was expecting. Really, I got the job through actually some work I did in Colombia with a charity. But with that, I just came to a festival. About 50, 60 Deloitte employees were there, and these guys, very serious, very professional, have a day where they just have to turn up, lead a bunch of, well, one of the roles is leading a bunch of 8 to 10 kids. With that, they've got to encourage them to get involved with every single sport that, I mean, maybe these adults haven't even played before. They need to really force them along with the day, get involved properly. It's just seeing this contrast of corporate London and these kids who, necessarily aren't from the easiest backgrounds coming together in one. And it really is, I mean, special. I don't know what other kind of volunteering other people have done. I don't know if you've done any volunteering days or anything like that, but I don't know. It can't compare, surely.
It does sound good. So, what is there any kind of stipulation around which kind of companies or which kind of people that you'd have in to partner with you on this?
So it all depends on if you want to fund the whole program. You can either, the first time's always free. You can bring some volunteers, get a taster for it. Big corporations like to fund the whole program, which is a set amount of money. We have housing associations, which we work with closely also, due to they want that local impact. That's a bit different because they kind of want funding in a certain area of a borough, whereas, a corporate partner, as I say, like Deloitte or Lloyd's, might want just some sort of volunteering day, and then they'll fund it, and then they will know that all of this money will be channeled into something good. This is the whole main point of it. So it
Yeah,
can really be anyone, to be honest.
yeah. Okay, so there's different levels basically. So no matter where you are, there's you can get involved and you can help.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, let's take a halftime break here. And this is where we hear about one of your favourite memories from your old Colfeian rugby days. So, what have you got, Harry?
Oh, so I was discussing this. I made a call with my mate Frank yesterday, who's actually currently the social secretary at Old Colfeians. So he loves having fun with the rugby and off the pitch. But we were discussing because our tours, we tried to do the Six Nations as our tours over the years. We only managed to do England, France, Wales, Scotland. I mean, it's good. It's very good. We're on our way. But in the 2017 tour in Wales, it was our last game. We were in Abergavenny playing a pretty tough side. I mean, these Welsh boys, they're big. They were bigger than us. Our Southeast London boys don't really come up against these the same sort of farmers and stuff. Only Kent boys otherwise. But yeah, so the game carried on. It was a good game, very close. I think we were definitely the underdogs, especially at their home. But there was actually a big brawl at the end. I think naturally happens. Tensions are high, game of rugby, and it was a bit of a sour game. I think maybe they edged the win. We couldn't quite remember that. I think it was quite close. But I actually ended up getting my first big concussion that game. I remember it not too well. That was a bit of a shock for me. I got knocked out, try saving tackle, although they scored the try, one of them. But yeah, so big 15 versus 15 brawl. But the beauty of it was afterwards we all came back to the bar, and I feel like this was the first taste of rugby camaraderie where even though we were about 16, 17 years old, we all came to the bar, and these boys from Wales were really inviting to us, and it felt like they really wanted us to be there, and we felt really privileged to enjoy some of these games, maybe some silly drinking games. Obviously no alcohol because we were 17. It was all silly, but that was really keen and fond memory of mine, and great tours. By the way, Old Coast had great tours within age groups. I mean, young age groups, you go to the camper vans and then spend most of your dad's money at the ticket machines, in the arcade. That was the whole thing about it, my friends. But I think that was probably one of my fondest keen Old Colfeians memories as a
Yeah,
player.
that's a great one. Like tour stories are always so formative. They're so sort of important. So yeah, good to hear, and good to hear it was all done well in the bar afterwards, and all the rugby camaraderie, as you say, was absolutely in evidence.
Very important. Very, very
Very
important.
important indeed. Okay, let's get into the second half now, Harry, and we are looking for some case studies. So some examples, some ideas of what's gone well, why it's important, and how it's succeeding at the moment.
Mm. So, well, as far as my job goes, actually, at my first festival I went to, it was at Hackney Britannia Leisure Centre. There was a example of a child who was actually selectively mute. She was a young leader on the day, which means one of the secondary school kids is able to come to, well, a young leader, firstly, is what we offer to secondary schools. They come to the festival, bring about 20 to 30 kids. They help run the festival and they actually get a bit of work experience with it. It means they will run a group of kids. This girl on the day was given a group of kids, as I say, selective mute. The whole day going up to lunch, she was, pointing about, doing what she could, communicating not verbally. Although it came to the bocce class, have you ever played bocce? Do you know what a bocce is?
Never played it, but I've heard of it.
Yeah. Bocce, to those who don't know, it could only describe it as inside garden bowls, like plastic ball bowls. Very fun game. But she actually came out of her shell, and my colleague actually witnessed this firsthand. She was speaking, she was lifting everyone in the team up, and I mean, the teachers were completely in awe, shocked to see a selective mute kind of come out of their shell and seeing this happen due to like being put into a leadership role, which is something that we focus really closely on with Sport Inspired. It's incredible, to be honest, and seeing that on my first day was like, this is pretty cool, you know?
Yeah,
It's
that's
inspiring.
amazing. What a great story. That's a brilliant one. Have you got any others as well? Any others?
There was kind of more recently another festival which was at Mile End, Poplar, Baths. There was a young Spanish girl. She didn't speak any Spanish, any English at all, sorry. And she come to us asking for a bit of first aid. Uh, One of them children moments where she might have had a ball hit her finger like that and she's holding it, crying, all of that. And she couldn't find any sort of help from anyone because she didn't speak any English, you know. But I don't know. I've spent about 7 months in South America this year, so my Spanish is, I mean, it's gone from zero to hero, you could say, although hero is about 20% Spanish. So I was at least being able to speak to her a little bit, and like just that little bit of Spanish. I think I said like frio ayuda, which is, I mean, in my Southeast London accent doesn't sound great, but it means cold help. And you see her light up. And then after that, the day went on. She was really involved. Just these little things. Kids really get involved. We get some wheelchair users come to our activities, and when we know one's coming, we supply wheelchair basketball, which is fun to get involved with. We do teachers versus volunteers with that as well, which is fun to watch. Such a wide selection of games and business. Judo is a really big thing at our festivals, not something too mainstream, although it's really cool, you know. I really like judo now, honestly.
How do you get the kids into that starting off? What are the first steps in doing judo?
Judo. So I mean, when you have groups of about 40 kids, because it's like a circuit. The day is a circuit of the 5, 6 sports, so there's about 40 kids in a group. It's more so line them up. I think this is how they do it anyway. Line them up in order. You will run round in a circle around all the kids, and then you run and you throw a kick or throw a combination, and it's all very focused on one kid at a time, or one kid out of one of the groups will do the technique with one of the corporate volunteers holding it, giving a bit of feedback. They love it, you know, especially when you get these maybe account managers throwing roundhouse kicks at bags. It's just it's it's so funny to see. I just being able to see these people come along and really let loose for the day is so funny.
Amazing. Well, listen, it sounds like a lot of fun, but it also sounds really impactful as well, which is so, so important. So as we head to the bar and finish up here, is there just a quick reminder of the people that you're looking for, the people who can help you and get involved, and then how they can get a hold of you?
Yeah, so any people who have volunteering days or any corporation who has volunteering days, come spend them with us. As Harry, will connect my phone and my email through that. If you're able to fund one of our festivals, you can bring 100, even more volunteers just for one day. Everyone can have a nice one, and afterwards we normally do have some festive pints down the local wherever we may be. So it could be any corporation with volunteering days necessarily. Even if you don't, it's always going to go to a good cause.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, people listening, I encourage you to get involved. It sounds like a lot of fun. If I was in that position, I would certainly be doing it myself. I will link everything that Harry's just mentioned there in the show notes, which you can find below, and also on the Old Colfeians Rugby Club website. As we take the taxi home, though, Harry, have you got any sort of final thoughts, any sort of parting message that you want to
Yeah, this is
say?
great. This is great, and I've really enjoyed following you, Tim, on your travels recently, going about, knowing that you've been driving around everywhere. It's incredible, and I'm gonna go back to South America actually in March to continue my traveling a little bit more. I think it's so good for the soul and everything around it, you know. So enjoy yourself, Tim.
Magic. Well done, Harry. Thanks so much. And thank you to
Cheers.
you people listening at home for listening to the Colfeian Connection. As I said, please get in touch with Harry if you see a really good fit for your business. This podcast is also produced alongside an email newsletter, and that provides even more value and potential opportunity. And there's a link to that in the description below as well. So go ahead and get signed up. And that brings us to an end. Harry, thanks so much again for your time today.
Thank you, Tim.
Okay, and people listening, I will see you next time when I'll be chatting with another quality Colfeian.